20 minutes to 8. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We start off today discussing or looking ahead of the Ekiti governorship elections. Well, today we see security men flood Ekiti ahead of governorship elections and then some of the riders there. Well, now we're joined by Senator Ayo Arise, who is from Ekiti. And morning, I thank you for coming on this today.
Thank you very much.
We joked about it. You're not in your bow tie today. It means, look, you're not going to be gentle with these elections, will you?
No. Well, we would all we have ties to just win the elections. And we are poised for that already.
Tell us about security, because, I mean, some of the residents here said, look, we didn't expect this much. So what were they thinking? That it was going to be a stroll in the park or business as usual for security?
Well, we've had experience with isolated elections like this in the past, and people flooded the state with all manner of thugs, miscreants, and the electoral process was actually hijacked, by those miscreants, and we couldn't have a peaceful election. So we appeal to Mr. President that we want a one-man, one-vote situation. We do not want the hoodlums taking over the electoral process. We want people to be able to vote freely, without fear. And so the security personnel are just there to maintain law and order and ensure that people express their willingness to choose a leader.
So many people who watch developments in our political space always ask this question: isn't it possible for us to have elections or even build up to elections without violence?
Oh, certainly that is where we are headed to. We are praying that we will be able to have free and fair elections without violence. And I've spoken many times on the strategies to achieve that. We should begin to work on making political office less attractive. The way it is now, everybody wants to be a politician, and because it's a gateway to prosperity somehow. So we must begin to channel our efforts towards other avenues, for attaining recognition and greatness in society. Once that is done, the urge to make it a desperate affair, will certainly reduce. And of course, once you see incumbents in place who do not think they can easily be voted out, we will still continue to have challenges like this. So that is why we feel the environment must be conducive for people to express, their desire for leadership.
You're a member of the PDP and in Ekiti State, and as a former senator, talking about the power of incumbency, and you put a smile on your face when you say that it looks like, it seemed to be a done deal for you. Why would you get to that point where you think that, in Ekiti State, the issue of power of incumbency can't actually count in this particular election?
Well, I share the privilege of coming from the same local government with the incumbent, that is Fayemi. And he clearly forgot when he got to office that he would be seeking for votes so soon. And he was at the vanguard of telling the federal government not to put an invest in his own local government, and insisted on taking it somewhere else. So we had that battle for a long time. And the people of the local government, how is he going to convince them to vote for him for a second time, regardless of the incumbency? I mean, that is the greatest infrastructure and the greatest enterprise that the federal government put in Ekiti. So I will go there, I'll be campaigning. How is he going to win me there? He has lost his local government. I'm not even talking of other places. And when you go to the capital, Ado Ekiti, where he seems to have sunk a substantial amount of money in terms of the roads, he's so unpopular there. I don't know. It's just, you need to see any of, just get someone to see Fayoshe walk the streets. It's amazing. I've never seen such. I don't know how he got so popular with the people. but it's the grassroots person.
I didn't expect you to say that. I mean, the
Say anything
governor
different.
was going to be more popular than your party man, because I mean that's what politicians do, isn't it?
But don't forget that we've had elections in Ekiti before, and this same Fayose, when he was actually, he wasn't this popular. I didn't know even when I was in AC at that time. He was still able to defeat the incumbent at
But
that
the
time.
thing is, the way elections play out here and the way we vote in this country,
Yes.
we've seen presidents lose their local governments and go ahead and be returned.
Yes, that is if he has, politically, if he has stronger men in other places to ensure that they carry the respective states for him.
When you talk about stronger men, sorry to interrupt you there, but you know, one gets a sense that if you're a politician or if you occupy public office, you know, your work should speak for you. By your own admission, the governor of Ekiti State, the current governor, is doing something something that is visible in terms of roads and some other infrastructure in Ekiti, at least in Ado-Ekiti, where is the capital itself.
Yes.
But you say that he's not popular there.
Unfortunately,
what more do you think a politician needs to do to be able to sway votes his way when election comes?
yes, his own ambassadors is the father, the person running against him is Fayose. Most of the big infrastructures in Ado-Ekiti, from the stadium to the government offices, to the best hotel in town, Fountain, all those were Fayose's work. So when you begin to look at Ado-Ekiti by itself, it has a platform to campaign. He has so many things he can tell the people, I did this for you. And in 3.5 years, we've been able to see some improvement on the roads. And actually, Fayose was the one that dualized the township road when he was there. But Fayeme has done a little bit to improve on the road network in the town. But Ado-Ekiti does not constitute the whole of Ekiti. And the question is, what has he done beyond that place? And when you look at it, we have 16 local governments. Ado is just one of the 16. So Fayose is able to say, even in this Ado-Ekiti, I've created more infrastructure than yourself. I have things I can point to, and including the stadium. So every major infrastructure in Ado-Ekiti, apart from, even including the dualization of the highway.
So in answer
it's attributable
to
Fayose.
you think that this is just peculiar to Ekiti? It's not what happens across the board. It's because he's running against somebody who, you know, has once occupied office in Ekiti State. But don't you also think that the personality, I know that we're trying to keep this issues-based, but because the candidate you have has been in office before,
yes,
and he left under very curious circumstances.
Yes.
From what we understand, he was impeached by the State House of Assembly. In fact, he's been doing a lot of defending in terms of what happened in that period.
Yes. Okay.
Well, there's been some stuff there,
So, yes.
hopefully
Yes.
it won't distract us.
Yes.
How would you say that past affects his chances in the future?
Well, unfortunately, from what I have seen, I'm sure the build-up to the primaries, everybody knew that I was not supporting Fayose. And based on most of some of these allegations that you alluding to. But I've since looked at our constitution. First, impeachment is now one of the conditions that can be used to disqualify a candidate.
That matter is in court, we understand.
Yes, that is one.
Was it adjourned to June 30?
Oh, the one adjourned to June 30th, yes, that is one. That was adjourned 2 days ago. Now, but the Constitution is very clear. I've gone in, I've looked at it, and I've looked at the conditions, particularly for you to become a president. Look at Section 137 of the Constitution. It's very explicit on who and who cannot become either a president or a governor. Now, if we wrote a constitution that does not include impeachment as a disqualification, then there is no way we can put that blame on the candidate. So I've looked at it. It's either we go amend that. So he has committed nothing that would disqualify him on the grounds of the fact that he was impeached. Because the Constitution, I actually took this up with Edoma Egba. So we trashed it out for a long time. And I was convinced that it's an error on the part of those who drafted our Constitution. So moving forward, we can amend that. But as it is...
So it's an error that the PDP is willing to take a bet on in terms of, how risky that is.
It's not even a bet, it's very explicit.
Do you think that there is a tinge that you might suffer as a result of presenting such a candidate?
Absolutely none. Because we looked at it, we started with Mr. President, we tried this things out. We had almost 17 aspirants that paid. And everybody was looking for one reason or the other to ensure that Fayose did not emerge. And everybody failed. So we looked at all those conditionalities. We could not find a single thing. And when you look at the cases in court, the blame is in the judicial system, not on Fayose. If Fayose had been indicted on one count, I can assure you that he would never become the candidate of the PDP. But he has no indictment against him.